Today we're going to be doing not a review but a comparison of both two mobiles that everybody would wish they'd have. Those are Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and iPhone 13 Pro Max. Okay, so let's head into the comparison. So now we will be knowing what are the prices of both of these phones, and basically we'll be knowing in AED. So technically, iPhone 13 Pro Max is more costlier than a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, but then we'll be knowing which is technically more better. So now let's head towards design and other features.
So when we will look at the specification, the 6.8 inch for Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and iPhone 13 Pro Max is 6.7 inch. And processor for S22 Ultra is Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. For Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max it is Apple A15 Bionic. And for front camera for S22 Ultra is 40 megapixel and for iPhone 13 Pro Max is 12 megapixel. Rear cameras for S22 Ultra is 108 megapixel, 12 megapixel and 10 megapixel. For iPhone 13 Pro Max it is 12 megapixel into 3, means 3 cameras are 12 megapixel. For RAM of S22 Ultra is 8GB and 12GB. For iPhone 13 Pro Max it's not given. When you go to storage of the S22 Ultra, 128GB, 256GB, 512GB and 1TB for both of them are same. Battery capacity for S22 Ultra is 5000 mAh, but for iPhone 13 Pro Max it is 4382. But it's not given here, but I know it is 4382 mAh. For OS, Android 12 for S22 Ultra, and iPhone 13 Pro Max it is iOS 15. And resolution is not given for S22 Ultra, but it is given for iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is 1284 into 2778 pixels. Now let's go to the ratings.
Ratings. Overall rating for Samsung S22 Ultra is 9, and for iPhone 13 Pro Max it's also 9. Design rating for Samsung it's 9, and for iPhone it's 9. Display rating for Samsung is a whopping 10, and for iPhone it's 9. Software rating of the Samsung and Apple is the same. Performance rating, both are the same also. They are 10. And battery life rating for Samsung is a little lower, it's a 9, and for iPhone it's a 10. Camera rating for Samsung is 10, and for iPhone it's a 9. Value for money rating is Samsung has 8, and iPhone has a 7.
So now let's head to the general specifications, in which we get to know about the brand and all the stuff. So we obviously know what is the brand and the model. If you guys don't know, we're going to be doing about Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max. So now it's release date. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra will be released in February 9, 2022, whereas Apple 13 Pro Max will released on September 14, 2021. Now, it is launched. Both of these phones are launched in India, and its dimensions include Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra dimensions are 163.30 into 77.90 into 8.90, whereas for Apple it is 160.80 into 78.10 into 7.65. I think there are slight differences in their dimensions. Now, for the weight, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra weighs 229 grams, whereas Apple weighs 240 grams. That means Apple is more heavier than Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now for the IP rating. Both of the phones consist IP68 with the battery capacity. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra consists of 5000 mAh, whereas it's undefined for Apple. Now for the removable battery, Apple does not consist any removable battery because it's clearly undefined, and for Samsung, I don't think there is. Now for the wireless charging, both of the phones are capable for wireless charging, and for the colors, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has many colors such as phantom black or white and even green. And also for the Apple, we got graphite, gold, silver, or even Sierra blue, as you guys can see on the screen. Now for the form factor, it is touchscreen for the Apple, and whereas it is not touchscreen for Samsung. Like Samsung is also touchscreen mobile, whereas Apple is also a touchscreen mobile. Now for fast charging, both the phones are proprietary, except for Samsung, as Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is undefined. Now let's head to know more other specifications such as display.
So when you compare the displays, the screen size of S22 Ultra, as I said in the beginning of the key specification, is a 6.8 inch, and for iPhone 13 Pro Max, 6.7 inch. Touchscreen, yes, for both, as tech was told, and protection type is for the glass, which is for S22 Ultra, and iPhone 13 Pro Max it is not given. Refresh rate for S22 Ultra is not given. Resolution also not given. PPI is also not given. But for iPhone 13 Pro Max, refresh rate is 120 Hz. Resolution 1284 into 2778 pixels. Pixels per inch is 458 ppi. Now let's set to the hardware comparison.
Hardware. Processor for Samsung S22 Ultra is octa-core and for iPhone it's hexa-core. Processor making for Samsung S22 Ultra is Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Generation 1. For Apple, it's Apple A15 Bionic. RAM for Samsung S22 Ultra is 8GB and 12GB. For Apple, it's undefined. Samsung for internal storage it's 128GB, 256GB, 512GB and 1TB. For Apple also it's the same. For it's 128GB, 256GB, 512GB and 1TB. For Samsung expandable storage, no. For Apple it's not given. For Samsung dedicated micro SD slot, it's not given. And for Apple it's not also given.
Yes, now let's know about the camera. So whereas for the rear camera, we've got 108 megapixel plus 12 megapixel plus 10 megapixel. Whereas for Apple, we've got all the three cameras, or for all the rear cameras, 12 megapixel. Now for the number of rear cameras. Samsung has 4 rear cameras, whereas Apple has 3 rear cameras. And for the rear autofocus, Samsung has face detect and autofocus, whereas Apple has none. It's undefined. And for the rear flash, Samsung is having rear flash, whereas for Apple it doesn't have any rear flash. Now for the front camera, Apple consists of 12 megapixel, whereas Samsung consists of 40 megapixel. The number of front cameras are both have each one front camera, and Samsung has autofocus, front autofocus, whereas Apple is really undefined. Now I really know why Samsung has more rating than Apple in camera wise.
Now, when we compare the software-wise, the operating system of S22 Ultra is Android 12 and Skin is One UI 4, and for the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it is iOS 15, as I said earlier in the starting, and Skin is not given. Now, let's set to the connectivity comparisons.
Connectivity. Samsung S22 Ultra Wi-Fi it has. Apple for Apple also yes it has. Wi-Fi standard supported. For Samsung S22 Ultra 802.11ax, and for Apple it's 802.11 A, B, G, N, AC and AX. For GPS for Samsung S22 Ultra, yes it has. Apple also it has. Bluetooth for Samsung S22 Ultra it has. Yes, it has version 5.20. For Apple it also has, but version 5.00. For Samsung NFC, yes it has. Apple also it has. USB Type-C for Samsung it has, for Apple does not. For number of SIMs for Samsung is 2 and for Apple also it's 2. Wi-Fi Direct for Samsung it has, and for Apple does not. Active 4G on both SIM cards, yes, Samsung S22 Ultra has that, but Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max doesn't have that. Lighting for S22 Ultra it's undefined. For Apple, yes, it has very good lighting.
Now when we compare the SIM 1 and then last is the SIM 2, but for SIM 1 we will do comparison. So SIM type for both are Nano SIM, GSM, 3G, 4G, LTE, 5G, and last thing is the SIM 2. So when you compare the SIM 2, nothing is given for the S22 Ultra, but eSIM, GSM, yes, and yes for iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now let's go to the sensors comparison.
Yes, so as we go for the sensors, it has fingerprint sensors and it also has in-display fingerprint sensors. Whereas for the compass and the magnetometer, there is both for Samsung and Apple. But for the fingerprint sensor and the in-display fingerprint sensor, Apple is clearly undefined for it. Now for the proximity sensors, both have proximity sensors, both have accelerometer, ambient light sensor and gyroscope. And they also both have barometer. But whereas for 3D face recognition, only Apple has that and Samsung, whereas, is undefined.
If you guys want more videos, then subscribe, like, comment, share, turn on the notification button, because if you guys turn on the notification button, you guys will get notified if we send a new video. And share this channel to your family friends, family members, and all of your relatives. And comment on this video. And that's all. My name is Nathaniel.
My name is John.
My name is Otis. We are Tech Insider. Signing off.